Imagine you're living in a tribe of just 25 people. That's not a neighborhood. That's your entire world. Every person knows everyone else. Every hunter matters. Every gatherer matters. And every child matters most of all, because children aren't just part of the tribe. They are the tribe's future. The problem is that human children are terrible at surviving. Compared to other animals, they're practically unfinished. A young deer can walk within hours. A foal can run before the day is over. Human babies can't even hold their own heads properly, and for years they depend on others for everything: food, protection, warmth, knowledge. Without help, a child simply wouldn't survive. But here's the interesting part. In ancient societies, parents didn't raise children alone. Imagine trying to gather food while chasing a curious toddler, or carrying water for miles with two children hanging onto you, or staying awake every night watching for predators. No single person could do all of that. So humans invented something extraordinary: shared parenting. Long before schools existed, long before governments existed. In fact, many ancient children spent more time around other adults than we might expect. A child could wake up beside their parents and spend the rest of the day learning from everyone else. One adult taught them where food grows. Another taught them which plants could make them sick. Another taught them how to spot danger. Every person carried knowledge, and every child became a student. This wasn't organized education. There were no lessons, no exams, no report cards, just observation. And observation is one of humanity's greatest teachers. Children learned by watching, then copying, then practicing, until knowledge became instinct. But knowledge wasn't the only thing children received. They received protection. Imagine a predator approaching camp. The child might not notice, but dozens of eyes would. One adult sees the danger, another grabs the children, another prepares a weapon. The entire group responds. Because protecting children wasn't a parent's job, it was everyone's job, and that may have given humans a huge advantage. Other animals protect their young. Humans protected everyone else's too. That sounds simple, but it may have changed human history, because helping children survive means helping knowledge survive, and helping knowledge survive means helping humanity survive. The future of the tribe sat around every campfire, and everyone knew it. If children were everyone's responsibility, then some people became especially important. Not because they were the strongest, not because they were the fastest, but because they knew things nobody else did. Meet the grandmothers. One of the most important people in ancient society. She may no longer hunt. She may no longer travel long distances. But she possesses something far more valuable: experience. She remembers where food grows. She remembers dangerous seasons. She remembers which plants heal and which plants harm. Most importantly, she has time. Time to teach. Time to protect. Time to help. Some scientists believe this changed human evolution. It's called the grandmother hypothesis. The idea is surprisingly simple. When grandmothers helped raise children, more children survived. When more children survived, the tribe became stronger, and stronger tribes survived longer. In other words, grandmothers may have helped shape humanity itself. But grandmothers weren't the only helpers. Ancient babysitters existed too. They were called older siblings. Imagine being 12 years old in prehistory. You're not sitting in a classroom. You're already contributing. You help carry supplies, you help watch younger children, you help teach basic survival skills. And through helping others, you learn how to become an adult. Responsibility wasn't taught through words. It was taught through experience. Every child learned by participating. And every child eventually became a teacher. Knowledge flowed from generation to generation, like a river that never stopped moving. because knowledge was survival, and children carried that survival into the future, which made every child worth protecting. The truth is, human childhood is unusually long, much longer than most animals. And that creates a mystery. Why would evolution allow such a slow process? After all, helpless creatures rarely survive, unless helplessness has an advantage. And humans found one. Time. Time to learn, time to practice, time to fail, and time to improve. Animals are born ready. Humans are born learning. That's a huge difference, because learning requires teachers, lots of teachers, which is exactly what ancient tribes provided. The tribe became a living school, without classrooms, without books, without written lessons. Everything was learned through life itself. Every hunt was a lesson. Every gathering trip was a lesson. Every campfire story was a lesson. And every mistake was a lesson. Knowledge didn't live in books. It lived inside people. And children inherited it one conversation at a time. But raising children wasn't always easy. Sometimes food was scarce. Sometimes drought arrived. Sometimes sickness spread through camp. And sometimes parents didn't survive. For most animals, that could mean the end. But humans had something unusual: backup parents. If a mother became sick, someone else stepped in. If a father was injured, someone else stepped in. If tragedy struck, the tribe stepped in. This may have saved countless lives, because children weren't protected by one person. They were protected by everyone. And that made humans different, very different. Most species focus on their own young. Humans often cared for everyone else's too. That level of cooperation is rare, extremely rare, and it became one of humanity's greatest strengths. Not strength of muscles, strength of community. A force more powerful than any weapon. Because nobody survives alone, especially not a child. And ancient humans understood that better than anyone. In many ways, the story of humanity is really the story of childhood, because every civilization began as a child. Every great hunter was once a toddler. Every skilled gatherer was once carried in someone's arms. Every leader once needed protection. Every storyteller once sat quietly listening. And every generation depended on the one before it. Knowledge moved from old minds to younger minds, then from those minds to the next generation, again and again and again, for thousands of years. That chain was never allowed to break, because too much depended on it: the tribe's future, the tribe's knowledge, the tribe's survival, all resting on the shoulders of the next generation. And that is why children were everyone's responsibility. Not because of kindness alone, not because of tradition, but because survival demanded it. A single parent could struggle, a community could succeed, and together they accomplished something remarkable. They raised the future, one child at a time,